We are living through the beginning of a new industrial revolution. If you look back at history, every major leap in human civilization was defined by the way we harnessed energy and the way we processed information. In the first industrial revolution, we harnessed steam and water to automate manual labor. In the second, we harnessed electricity for mass production. In the third, we used the silicon chip to automate basic calculation. But what is happening right now, at this very moment, is fundamentally different. We are no longer just building tools that follow instructions, we are building intelligence. This is the iPhone moment for artificial intelligence, but it is moving 1,000 times faster than anything we have seen before. The transition we are witnessing is the shift from a world of general-purpose computing to a world of accelerated computing and generative AI. And yet, I hear the skeptics. I hear the voices on Wall Street talking about an AI bubble, questioning the billions of dollars of investment and wondering when the payoff will arrive. They are looking at the world through the lens of the past, and they are missing the most fundamental transformation in the history of technology. Wall Street is wrong because they are looking at AI as if it were just another software application, like a new social media platform or a new way to share photos. They see the capital expenditure and they worry about overinvestment. But what they don't understand is that we are not just building software. We are recycling the entire world's computing infrastructure. For 60 years, the world built data centers based on the CPU. We lived by the grace of Moore's law, expecting that transistors would get smaller and faster every 2 years. But the physics of the universe have reached a limit. Moore's law is dead. We can no longer just wait for the hardware to get faster to solve our problems. This is why the world's trillion-dollar installed base of data centers must be completely replaced. It must be reinvented as accelerated infrastructure. The spending you see today is not a bubble. It is the construction of the new industrial base for the age of intelligence. When I look at the current landscape, I don't see a bubble. I see a world that has finally realized it has run out of time. We have reached the limits of general-purpose computing, and the only way forward is accelerated computing. This is a first principles realization. If you want to solve the world's most complex problems, problems that the CPU simply cannot touch, like drug discovery, climate modeling, or physical robotics, you have to rethink the entire stack. You have to move from a world where we write code, line by line, to a world where we train neural networks on massive amounts of data. This is software 2.0. And software 2.0 requires a new kind of machine. It requires the AI factory. In an AI factory, data goes in and intelligence comes out. This is a continuous process, just like a power plant producing electricity. And just as the world needed to build power plants to enter the age of electricity, we must build AI factories to enter the age of intelligence. The skepticism from Wall Street often stems from a lack of appreciation for the impossible problems we are solving. At NVIDIA, we seek out the impossible. We look for the things that are so hard that no one else wants to touch them. Why? Because the work of your life should be to build things that did not exist before you arrived. If it's easy, someone else is already doing it. We chose the hard path. We spent 20 years and billions of dollars building CUDA when the rest of the industry thought we were crazy. They asked, "Jensen, why are you spending so much money on a platform that no one uses?" We were willing to be misunderstood for a long time. That is the price of innovation. You have to have the resilience to stay the course when the rest of the world tells you that you are wrong. NVIDIA is a company that has been 30 days from bankruptcy for 30 years. That mindset is woven into our DNA. It comes from our early failures. I remember the mid-90s when we were developing the Riva 128. We had already failed once with our first chip. We were down to our last few dollars. We had to be humble enough to admit we were wrong and resilient enough to double down on our vision of 3D graphics. That pressure, that pain and suffering is what forged our character. It taught us to move with a sense of urgency that borders on obsession. We run, don't walk. If you aren't running toward the future, someone else is, and they are going to get there first. Wall Street sees the pace of our releases, the jump from Ampere to Hopper to Blackwell, and they think we are moving too fast. But we aren't moving fast enough. The window of opportunity is always closing, and the only way to stay ahead is to reinvent yourself every single day. This is why our organization is so flat. I don't want a hierarchy where information takes weeks to reach me. I want to be in the trenches with the engineers. I want to know about the failures as fast as I know about the successes. In a flat organization, the best idea wins. not the highest title. We operate as a single unified team because the problems we are solving, the 600-watt thermal problem, the light speed interconnect problem, the trillions of operations per second problem, require us to act as one. We are building the most complex machines ever conceived by human beings. These are not just chips, they are miracles of physics and materials science. And to build them, you need a culture that welcomes the struggle and finds dignity in the hard work. The bubble argument also fails to account for the efficiency of accelerated computing. We have a saying, the more you buy, the more you save. It sounds like a joke, but it is a law of thermodynamics. If you spend $1 billion on traditional CPUs to do AI work, you will spend $10 billion on the electricity to run them. If you spend that same billion on accelerated computing, you will get the answer 10 times faster and use a fraction of the power. Performance is efficiency. Performance is sustainability. The world cannot afford to keep using the old methods. We are in an energy trap, and accelerated computing is the only way out. When Wall Street looks at the capital expenditure of the world's clouds, they don't see the massive energy savings and the massive productivity gains that are being unlocked. They see the cost, but they don't see the value. We are moving into the era of sovereign AI. Every nation on Earth has realized that their data is their most precious natural resource. They don't want to export their data to a foreign cloud to be processed. They want to build their own AI factories on their own soil. This is not a bubble. This is the construction of national infrastructure. It is as fundamental as building roads, bridges, or power grids. Every country needs the ability to produce its own intelligence in its own language, reflecting its own culture. This is a massive global shift that is only just beginning. When I speak to world leaders, they aren't asking if there is a bubble. They are asking how fast they can build their own sovereign AI. They feel the urgency. They know that to be a leader in the next century, you must own the means of intelligence production. The $5 trillion roadmap we are currently executing is the total replacement of the world's computing base. This is the truth that Wall Street misses. We are not just adding to the existing pile of computers, we are replacing it with something fundamentally better. The 50 series for the enthusiast, the Blackwell for the enterprise, and the Omniverse for the industry. These are all parts of a single unified vision. We are building the foundation for a world where every object is intelligent, where every factory is autonomous, and where every human being is amplified by a metal coworker. This is not science fiction. This is the reality that we are generating token by token right now. I often tell students that I wish them great doses of pain and suffering. I say that because I know that the greatest breakthroughs only come from the greatest challenges. NVIDIA exists today because we were willing to suffer through the impossible work. We were willing to face the failure of our first chips, the skepticism of our investors, and the limits of physics. We didn't get here because we were smarter or had more money. We got here because we were the only ones willing to stay 30 days from bankruptcy for 30 years. We stayed humble, we stayed hungry, and we never stopped running. The logic of the transition is irrefutable. We are moving from a world where computers retrieve information to a world where computers generate intelligence. This is the most profound change in the history of our species. It is a change that will affect every industry, every company, and every person. It is a change that requires a new kind of infrastructure, a new kind of software, and a new kind of mindset. The people who are waiting for the bubble to burst are going to find themselves standing in the rubble of an obsolete world, while the rest of us are building the future. We are at the beginning of the second industrial revolution. The tools of the past are no longer sufficient for the challenges of the future. We need the AI factory. We need accelerated computing. We need the resilience to face the hard problems and the humility to learn from our mistakes. At NVIDIA, we are cleared for takeoff. We have the roadmap, we have the technology, and we have the urgency. We are not looking back. We are running toward a world of abundance, where intelligence is as accessible as electricity and where the impossible is just a starting point. Point for a complete re-architecting of our global economy. You see, the reason the skeptics are confused is that they are looking at spending instead of building. When you build a railway or when you build the electrical grid, there is a period of massive capital expenditure. But once the rails are laid, the commerce that flows over them changes everything. We are currently laying the rails for the intelligence economy. And these rails are made of Blackwell GPUs, NVLink switches, and miles of optical fiber. The return on investment is not a distant promise. It is happening in real time. We are seeing companies move from the training phase to the inference phase. Training is the creation of the brain, but inference is the application of that brain to the world. And the scale of inference is going to be millions of times larger than the scale of training. Every time you ask an AI to help you write a line of code, to summarize a document, or to design a protein, you are running an inference. Every one of those inferences is a token of intelligence generated by an AI factory. Wall Street is wrong because they don't see the shift from tools to agents. For 60 years, we used computers as tools. You had to know how to use the tool to get the result. But we are moving to a world of autonomous agents. An agent doesn't just wait for your command, it understands your intent. It can plan, it can reason, and it can execute. We are building the Software 2.0 platform, where the computer is no longer a passive recipient of instructions, but an active collaborator. This is a massive leap in productivity. If you are a company and you can give every one of your employees 100 AI agents to handle the busy work, your productivity doesn't just increase, it explodes. That is not a bubble. That is a fundamental transformation of the nature of work. And this transformation is moving into the physical realm. This is what I call physical AI. For decades, AI was trapped behind the screen. It was about pixels and text. But now, through the power of accelerated computing and the omniverse, AI is stepping into the world of atoms. We are building the brains for the next generation of humanoid robots. We are building the simulation environments where a robot can learn to walk, to pick up a fragile object, or to navigate a warehouse by failing 10 million times in a digital world before it ever takes a step in the physical world. This is the digitization of the $50 trillion heavy industry market. When a factory can simulate its own operations and optimize itself in real time using digital twins, the efficiency gains are staggering. This is the second industrial revolution in action. I often tell people that the most important thing I learned at Denny's was the importance of being all in. When you are a busboy, you learn that every second counts and that the details matter. If you don't clear the tables fast enough, the whole system breaks down. We bring that same urgency to NVIDIA. We run, don't walk. We don't have time for traditional corporate politics or the slow grinding gears of middle management. That is why our structure is flat. I don't want a hierarchy. I want a network of intelligence. I want our engineers to feel the same pressure I felt when we were 30 days from bankruptcy, because that pressure is what produces diamonds. It's what allowed us to solve the 600-watt thermal problem by reinventing liquid cooling. It's what allowed us to build NVLink, which makes 72 GPUs behave as one single massive processor. The skeptics look at the power requirements and they see a hurdle. I see the first principles of energy. Performance is efficiency. By concentrating the power of 1,000 CPUs into a single Blackwell rack, we are actually reducing the total energy cost of intelligence. The more you buy, the more you save. It sounds like a joke, but in accelerated computing, it is a law of physics. We are collapsing the time to discovery. We are collapsing the cost of reasoning. And as we do that, we are opening doors that have been locked for centuries. We are seeing researchers use our GPUs to discover new materials that can capture carbon from the atmosphere. We are seeing doctors use AI to predict the onset of diseases before symptoms even appear. These are the payoffs that the spreadsheets don't capture. We are also at the start of the sovereign AI movement. Every nation on Earth has realized that its data is its soul. They don't want to export their data to a foreign cloud to be processed. They want to refine it locally. They want their own AI factories. This is not a trend. It is a fundamental shift in the wealth of nations. The countries that build their own AI infrastructure today will be the leaders of the next century. The countries that wait for the bubble to burst will be left behind in the dust of history. We are working with nations all over the world to help them build their own sovereign intelligence. We are providing the engines, but they are providing the data and the purpose. This is the truth of the moment we are in. It is a moment of absolute urgency. We are not just building a product. We are building the future of human civilization. We are building a world where intelligence is as accessible and as ubiquitous as electricity. And we are doing it with the humility of that busboy and the resilience of a company that has survived every crisis the industry has thrown at it. We stay 30 days from bankruptcy, not because we are failing, but because we refuse to be comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of innovation. We want to be where the friction is. We want to be solving the impossible problems because that is where the meaning is. So to the skeptics on Wall Street, I say, Stop looking at the spreadsheets of the past and start looking at the physics of the future. The AI revolution is not a bubble. It is the construction of a new world. It is the transition from a world of retrieval to a world of generation. And it is being generated pixel by pixel, token by token, right here. We are clearing the table for a future of abundance, and we are doing it with the same intensity we had 30 years ago. The RTX 50 series for the individual, the Blackwell systems for the enterprise, the Omniverse for the industry, these are all parts of one unified architecture for the age of AI. We are democratizing the most powerful technology in human history. We are putting a supercomputer on every desk and an AI factory in every city. This is the master plan. It is a plan for the complete acceleration of human potential. We are no longer limited by the speed of our fingers or the capacity of our biological memory. We are now amplified by the machines we have created. As we look toward the horizon, I see a world where the impossible has been solved. I see a world where we have cured the diseases that haunt us today. I see a world where we have achieved clean, limitless energy. I see a world where every human being has an AI collaborator that helps them realize their greatest dreams. This is the future we are building at NVIDIA. This is why we run. This is why we stay hungry. This is why we never stop clearing the tables and washing the dishes of the technology world. We are here to serve the future of humanity. I want to thank you for your resilience, your curiosity, and your drive. You are the reason we push the limits of physics every single day. You are the reason we never stop running. We are partners in this revolution. We provide the engines, but you provide the soul and the purpose. I am incredibly excited to see the AI factories you will build and the lives you will transform with this technology. We are just getting started. The next decade will be the most transformative in human history, and it will be defined by those who are brave enough to embrace the new era of accelerated intelligence. The logical conclusion of our journey is this: the world's hunger for intelligence is infinite, and we have found a way to produce it. Those who own the intelligence will own the future. There is no middle ground. You either build the factory or you become the product. The physics are clear. The opportunity is infinite. The time is now. The future is not a distant point on a map. It is something we are constructing right now in every line of code, in every simulation, and in every transistor. It is a future that is bright, it is fast, and it belongs to the learners. We have a world to reinvent, and we don't have a second to waste. Run, don't walk toward your dreams. Run toward the next era of AI. I want to make sure this conversation continues. If you believe in this vision of an accelerated future and want to stay at the forefront of the AI revolution, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It helps us grow this global community of visionaries and doers. Also, I know many of you have very specific questions about the 50 series, about the bubble debate, or about how to build your own AI agents. Please leave those questions in the comments below. I, Jensen, will be looking through them, and I will respond to your questions quickly. I want to hear your ideas. I want to know what impossible problem you are going to solve today. Run, don't walk. I'll see you in the future.